In the introduction video to this series, I mentioned these windows, that one there and the one at the front. They're just pieces of black perspex. The centre one has got a proper glass insert and a window there, but these are just trim pieces effectively. I was thinking of just fitting windows straight through them. It would mean there's about 30mm of thickness to deal with, and I'm fitting some short shield Autocare windows which are designed for up to about 30-35mm. But on inspecting this window, or this piece of perspex, you can see there, it's worse now because I've been started removing it, but it come unbonded this corner here. So I decided I'll take it off. And there's black, I'm not sure what it is, it looks like, if anything, it looks like burnt leaves. There's black things falling out from inside it. It may be the sealant they've used has sort of gone all crackly. But this is well stuck on, and I'll show you what I mean when I get it off. I'm working my way through at the moment with a sharpened tip of a panel saw, and I just need to get out of the way, then I can cut the hole for the window. And then I will probably use pieces of this just to make trim pieces, because the windows aren't completely square, they've got rounded corners. So there you go, got it off. Look at the amount of sealant they've used to stick that on. And this mystery black stuff is paint. They paint, well, it looks like they've painted the back of the perspex, and that's peeled off the back of the perspex and created all these strange bits of material. And then obviously they've painted the, either painted it or used some kind of primer on the polypropylene to give a bit of adhesion for the sealant, but bloody hell. And yet that corner had come undone and it was lifting up by a fair bit. Amazing. That really was difficult to get off. I've just used the sharpened end of a saw blade just as basically a knife, and you can just work your way up, cutting your way through, and off it came. Now the question is, how hard this one going to be to get off, because this one isn't lifting and I haven't got an edge to start working with either, so I'm going to have to go out underneath. Oh, it's going to be that's going to be fun and games getting that one off. What you can now see are the 8 bolts that held the massive plasma monitor bracket onto the wall. And if you remember, I had to cut slots in the end of the bolts because I couldn't, they were just rotating, and now you can see why. They use these plastic washers to stop them pulling through the honeycomb of the plastic material the van's built from, but they were just spinning. Can you imagine if they needed to change that TV bracket, mount a different monitor on it? They've had to take all this window out, and as well as a lot of the cladding on the inside of the vehicle, because that massive lump of aluminium that held the monitor was huge, and it was wedged in between the 2 walls on the inside, so a total of 16 bolts held that bracket on. The second piece of perspex took me a good 2 or 3 hours to get off. The glue was really well stuck, unlike that one over there, which was already beginning to hang off. So what I've done now is I've made a plywood template, same size as the cutout for the windows, and then centered that using that window there, or the parallels from that window there, as a point of reference. And then I've scored around the edges of the plywood, and then I've got to basically cut away the remnants of this sealant where I want to actually cut the hole out. Otherwise I'm going to have trouble guiding the jigsaw probably. One of the advantages of a plastic vehicle is I could actually screw this piece of plywood to the wall and it means I can take the plywood down and reposition it again if I need to, if my scribe marks aren't as visible as I think they are. So next job, clean up all this sticky goo so I can cut a hole. The other advantage with using screws is I can come in here and find out where they're just beginning to protrude in through the plastic, and that allows me to measure between that distance there and this aluminium extrusion, because obviously any hole I cut out, I don't want to be coming out behind there. And the same on this side, I can just measure the distance between there and this is the actual external door frame. So the window, looking at that, is going to be pretty much central in here as well. By the looks of it, it's not going to be far off. Well, central in relation to the plastic, maybe not central when you take into account that aluminium extrusion, but it will be central from the outside, and that probably is going to be better on the eyes than it be central on the outside. There's nothing quite like cutting a hole in the side of a vehicle and hoping everything fits. So there's one, just push fitted in and held in with a couple of screws. And there's the hole. I've just cut for the second one. So you're now seeing for the first time, same with me, a completely different view out of this vehicle. And I'm just about to test fit this window as well. The window's pulled in tight against the wall of the van with 16 screws and an internal frame. Unfortunately, the screws that come in the kit are way too short. The thickness of the walls in my van are 30mm. Obviously the screws will be suitable for a panel van, you know, just a mill of metal to deal with, but I've had to use temporarily wood screws. I need to buy some stainless steel screws because the metal screws I've used here will not react well with the aluminium frame. But that's a minor thing. I need to frame the rest of the van out now, and then I can fit the blind and everything else. But this frame is effectively holding the window in place while the glue goes off. So there we have two Shield Autocare windows, and I've cut off pieces of the perspex just to fill the gaps either side and cover up all the muck that was left from when I cut it off, and there's a bit wider there, and then I've just put a bit of sealant on that side. They blended very, very well. I'm just very, very lucky that these windows were exactly the right depth.